Yo, what up? Back again. Let's go. What are we doing? Oh, I got a C+. How? I'm not even participating. I went from 871,000 to 720,000. What? Oh, but my espionage grade. Espionage grade went down. Oh, we have Mosquito's Legacy. They are genuinely still doing online things for this game from 2015. Holy shit. Did I get more points? Buy more staff. Wow, there's nobody on my security team. Holy balls. What we got here? Oh, we can do another one now. Combat. Sure.
Commencing platform construction. Commencing platform construction.
Oh, we got cassettes. Alright, let's check out some... Let's have some story time. Plenty of code talker. So I think the next thing to do is actually a mission. Here, let's start playing.
I have no doubt Skullface's plan is almost complete. At that point, I will no longer be of use to him. I must leave behind this record at least. A record of how the ancient vocal cord parasites became these abominable ethnic cleansing parasites. I believe he has two purposes for the ethnic cleansing parasites. The first, as their name suggests, is ethnic cleansing. This conflict between East and West that envelops the world will not last much longer. Once the Cold War ends, and the weight of America and the Soviet Union is lifted away, the ethnic conflicts they kept suppressed will all rise to the surface. It is not difficult to imagine that the radical sides will begin cleansing their adversaries. But what if an ethnic cleansing parasite matching the language of the aggressors were to be unleashed? The aggressors would be washed off the earth. At the very least, the idea that retaliation could eradicate your people would prove a powerful deterrent. The second purpose is the Englishization of the world. To cipher the organization, this is probably their main use. Man thinks in words, or rather, words are man's very means of thinking. If you erase a word representing some concept, the concept itself disappears from the world. Nishone means beautiful.
It is Navajo, by the way.
But the image that comes to mind when we say Nishone differs from the Blagana's beautiful. An azure sky, a rolling landscape, lush greenery. The meaning we place in Nishone has its roots in Dene culture. If we lose the word Nishone, the images of our beautiful homeland would be washed away into oblivion along with it, just as Orwell indicated years ago. Cypher, being based in America, is pushing Englishization for this very reason. Suppose all 5 billion people on this planet come to read, speak, and think in English. Their wills could also be streamlined under English. Cypher's control would be all the easier. Economic governance would progress in leaps and bounds. The ethnic cleansing parasites would be a great aid in accomplishing this goal. There is no need to destroy every language besides English.
Again, the only thing I'd like to comment on, this is assuming a unified world via one language. That's not how that works. We, as the human race, war with people who speak the same language. So you're ethnic cleansing and like getting rid of other ones and then unifying under a new language doesn't stop the fighting. That's basic disagreements over, I believe I own this and I believe I own this. No, I own it. That causes confrontation too. So it's also like that idea kind of falls apart to me. I think just at that moment is like, it's not a bad Bond villain, but give it a few more seconds of thought and you're like, oh, people would still fight.
All they need to do is weaken other dominant languages competing with it. Russian, Chinese, Arabic. If people know they risk their lives speaking such languages, they will flock to the lingua franca that is English. Cypher need not even focus attention on smaller languages. After all, they are already being eaten away by English. Business, education, film, commodities. English has permeated every area of global society. I can see this when I look at young Dene. Some of them have already lost their grasp of the Navajo language. It is said that over 2,000 languages of the world are facing extinction. This very moment, cultural concepts and forms of expression are disappearing forever. The spread of electronic networks gives greater meaning to Englishization. Networks have no national borders. By basing them on a single language, they can penetrate deeper into and between people. That basic point of unity provides the ideal environment for someone who aims to control people's wills. But how does this differ from building the Tower of Babel? The ethnic cleansing parasites attempt to rob man of his words. Such irony. It was the vocal cord parasites that gave words to him in the first place. Ancient man had no language. Unable to produce complex sounds due to the structure of the throat, he could communicate only through simple vocalizations and gestures. Then the vocal cord parasites infected his larynx. Man's transition to walking upright did not gift him solely with intelligence, but also with his voice. At the time, the vocal...
Now, I am curious about that. That, I don't think, is rooted in... The idea of using that as a plot point is under the premise that we actually don't know why we can speak. And I don't know if that's the case. Right? Like, somebody would have to look at history and be like, oh, hey, here's a mystery. We still don't know why we have language or how we developed it. And I have a feeling that's not true. I think we probably know, at least off the top of my head, I have a feeling I can probably Google real fast language development over evolution, and it's probably explained very well. So this isn't even most likely, this is hardcore forced, because you're forcing this plot under something that's not true at all, like we do know. So I'm kind of curious to look that up.
Parasites never harmed man. They merely took a small measure of nourishment. In fact, you could call it a symbiotic relationship. Some animal species use particular vocalization patterns to attract a female and reproduce. Songbirds, certain insects, and also the vocal cord parasites. The difference is that the parasites themselves did not produce sounds. Rather, they had their hosts, man.
That's kind of dope, though. Like, that's not
Once secure on the human host vocal cords, male vocal cord parasite caused the host to produce a certain sound pattern, something like a warble of a bird. Meanwhile, females...
But does that also implies that somebody was sitting there one day and looked at something and went... Because, yeah, if we didn't have it in the first place, then what like inclination told the person to like try to speak, right? Because, yeah, we also, like, there were languages that literally spoke in clicks. Like, that's a thing. What, is that a result of the vocal cord parasite?
Parasitizing other host pharynxes need only wait. Upon hearing the sound pattern of an attractive mate, they would manipulate their hosts into making contact with the person it came from. The female traveled through his host's saliva to the other host's vocal cords,
Oh, that's
where
why
the
we
male
like kissing.
was waiting and the pair copulated. We can only imagine how the female manipulated his host, but it was probably through smell. Smells traveled directly to the limbic system via the olfactory cilia in the nasal cavity. Volatile compounds released by the female would stimulate the limbic system, which controls instincts, making the host feel amorous.
And this is also leaning into the primitive aspect, right? Like, lack of intelligence on why we might choose something. Because, and yeah, this is kind of more nefarious, because if it's like, why, if a parasite did what he was talking about, like, and you made a noise that somebody found attractive, that's the parasite manipulating you to do so, and it's not something, so that's kind of has some nefarious, like, inclination to it.
This kind of sexual selection naturally led to competition between the male parasites. Males that had their hosts produce sounds perceived by females as more attractive succeeded in copulating and producing offspring. Evolutionary traits caused by sexual selection are curious. The peacock's feathers, the mannequin's dance, the firefly's luminescence pattern. Even with courtship behaviors that are not advantageous to survival, those individuals that excel in them produce offspring, and it escalates with each generation. The same was true of the vocal cord parasites. Courtship vocalization rhythms and intonations became more sophisticated, and in order for man to produce such sounds, they had to alter his vocal organs. By lowering the position of the larynx and developing resonating chambers, they enabled more complex pronunciations. But that was not all. The vocal cord parasites activated a transcription factor that would later control man's language ability. A protein that, due to its appearance, is called forkhead box protein P2, or FOXP2. Activating this transcription factor led to the development of brain function capable of creating sophisticated frequency changes. This was the pinnacle of the vocal cord parasite's prosperity. However, this sophisticated pronunciation control was too useful for man to ignore. Once human sexual activity ceased to be only seasonal, and having lost pigment-based sexual characteristics, distinctive vocalizations became the most effective means for humans to attract mates as well. Combined with logic pathways hardwired into the brain, or universal grammar, it was not long before advanced communication was possible. This was the birth of language. Luckily for man, it was around this time that a particular retrovirus was circulating. While not lethal, it infected not only man, but the vocal cord parasites as well. It is presumed that this virus removed part of the parasite's DNA and reverse transcribed it into man's reproductive cells. It was a vector. Among the genes it transcribed were the ones responsible for the production of language. The vocal cord parasite's vocalization genes were written into the human genome. The parasites were no longer of any use to man now. Man could use his voice as he pleased, when he pleased, hindering the parasite's courtship vocalizations. Having lost their opportunity to reproduce, the parasites died out, leaving behind only the transcribed genes. The vocal cord parasites were once in symbiosis with man. Its genes even became a part of his. Humans and parasites are extremely close. As such, it will be extremely difficult for man's immune system to eliminate the vocal cord parasites. Even cutting them out will be no simple matter, which is exactly why these ethnic cleansing parasites are such a formidable weapon. The rise of the vocal cord parasites goes back approximately 300 million years to the Permian period. At that time, they were not even parasites, but predatory autotrophs. They are believed to have been the common ancestor to the Pentastemida and the Cyclops genus of copepods. However, Earth's environment underwent a violent change at the end of the Permian period. The cause is unclear, but evidence suggests that over 90% of the Earth's organisms at that time died out. The most pronounced threat to the protoparasites was the severe reduction in oxygen concentration. The result was cladogenesis, a splitting that gave birth to a new strain that could parasitize other organisms' respiratory apparatus. This survival tactic helped lower their oxygen consumption, and inhabiting the throat kept them securely in contact with inhaled air. The survivors were those that parasitized the reptiles that flourished at the time. Entering the Triassic period, the reptiles evolved into dinosaurs, and the protoparasites shared in their success. Dinosaurs developed respiratory organs called air sacs to adapt to the low oxygen environment. These in particular helped the protoparasites thrive. But another trial awaited them. The end of the Triassic period saw another drastic change in the Earth's environment. For most parasites, the male and female take the same host. Many are, in fact, hermaphrodites. Originally, the vocal cord parasites were as well. But for any strain to ride out a severe environmental change, it must secure a steady pool of genetic diversity. Another split. Now the newest strain procreated with mates found in other hosts. And in order to increase its encounters with those mates, the new strain utilized the voice of its host. They came to inhabit the host's vocal cords. This truly was the birth of the vocal cord parasite. The parasites developed the host's pharynx to form resonating chambers and used them to produce sophisticated mating calls. The relatively upright posture of the dinosaurs was important in this, because the crooked L-shaped pharynx was more suited to the development of resonating chambers. These developments ushered in a time of great prosperity for the parasites. But for the third time, the parasites had a major hurdle to overcome. The meteorite impact at the end of the Cretaceous period, which spelled the end of the dinosaurs. With their hosts extinct, the vocal cord parasites had no option but to find a new habitat. Birds.
If they get transported, how are these parasites getting around? Like, are they crawling in the ground? Because I mean, obviously, in a modern time, we had to dig them up, but like they're making it seem like, oh, the only way they can reproduce and get around is like through saliva and through like mates. But now they're just like, but they're moving on to other hosts. You're like it doesn't feel good.
As genetic successors to the dinosaurs, with functioning air sac apparatus already in place, birds were the perfect choice. But the parasites could not survive in birds that flew at high altitudes with thinner air. So they parasitized ground-dwelling birds and altered their respiratory system for the sake of reproduction. They gave the birds the means to produce sophisticated sounds. The syrinx responsible for chirping. This is the proof that points to activation of FOXP2 in songbirds as well as humans. The Cenozoic era began with a rise in oxygen concentration, which helped mammals to evolve and increase in size. The parasites then shifted to humans as a more effective host. Humans' bipedal upright walking meant that our throats could support larger resonating chambers. At first, vocal cord parasites entered humans using birds as their intermediate host. But eventually they changed to conducting their entire life cycle within human hosts. What happened next is as I have already described. People took the vocalizing prowess given them by the parasites and made it language. And once the parasites could no longer use it as their mating call, they died out. Or in other words, the parasites overcame all evolutionary hurdles except humanity. Skullface shared his opinion on this matter. He said the Ethnic Cleansers Project was sure to succeed. After all, the parasites had a grudge against us humans. To think we awoke them after such a long slumber, just so they could sate their thirst for vengeance. It is terrible, unforgivable, and yet, it is what I have done.
This is where it's you're leaning a little too hard into this story as opposed to the Metal Gear story. And maybe that's where the shit went off rails, because that's why we didn't get an ending. You were putting so much time and effort into trying to tell this that you missed the broad point. And you know, maybe you can't actually fault Konami for being like, dude, like, we don't know what really happened. But it's like, was Kojima just taking forever with it? Is Konami just were people at Konami execs just assholes, like force him out, or was he so focused on this you're just like, and then the story's
I learned of the vocal cord parasite's existence in literature belonging to the Foundation. It was little more than a theory. The question was, why does only Homo sapiens among all primates have highly developed language? Human versus everything else. The missing link between these was the mystery that gave rise to this theory. I was fascinated by the idea of their existence. In the Dene creation myth, the Neo Dene, who first inhabited the world, were insect-like creatures. I came to imagine that those insect-like creatures could be humans living in symbiosis with the vocal cord parasites. But I had not the faintest idea of how I could resurrect them. That is when Skullface came to me. What he offered me was not just assistance with my metallic archaea research. He told me the vocal cord parasites really existed. And not only did they exist, they had already been brought back to life in the modern age. An ancient human cadaver, host to the parasites of the time. Cypher excavated such a cadaver from a permafrost region and isolated the DNA coding of the vocal cord parasites. Naturally, they were long dead and could not be brought back, but there was an alternate vessel they could use. relative species of the Pentastomida discovered in China. It had adapted to live in the nasal cavity of animal hosts, but its genetic sequence showed signs of common ancestry with the vocal cord parasites. Ontogenesis, a path of an organism to maturity, is like a roadmap of the phylogenetic evolution of the entire strain. Cypher used this to effect a reverse evolution of the modern parasite and resurrect the vocal cord parasites. They interposed a developmental mechanism to the ontogenetic stage analogous to when the relative species first appeared, the point at which it split from the vocal cord parasites, forcing its evolution down the other path, the vocal cord parasite path. The larvae is produced by the vocal cord parasites, reborn. I do not know in detail how Cypher accomplished this, but clearly they have access to high-level genetic technologies. Skullface said it was the work of a genius woman scientist, and that the relative species in question was first discovered by a group once called the Philosophers.
Oh, connection.
Tasked with modifying the resurrected parasites. He charged me with 2 demands. First, to add lethality to these organisms that had once lived in peace with man, by unleashing the larvae's latent desire to consume nutrients from the host's lung tissue, making them eat and eat until the lungs were destroyed. Second, to have both male and female inhabit the same host and copulate then and there only when exposed to specific pronunciations continuously over an extended time. What he would do to the Dene if I failed. I had no choice.
I can put too much thought in this, but yeah, this is where I think like, no, it's falling apart.
Originally, the ultimate objective of the ethnic cleansing parasite project was the identification of not only languages, but of actual cultures. Language is deeply connected to ethnicity, but many languages are employed by multiple ethnic groups, and confrontation between those ethnic groups is by no means rare. If the cleanser parasites were to be a deterrent against ethnic conflict, they had to distinguish between groups using means other than pure language. The original plan called for this to be achieved by differences in the transmission vector. Each ethnic group has different lifestyle customs and eating habits. For instance, parasites living in shallow water and taken in through the skin could be used to target rice farming groups, or parasites using cows as their intermediate host would be ineffective against cultures that abstain from eating beef. But that is a lofty goal indeed. The current parasites mainly rely on droplet transmission. It would take extensive time to alter the transmission route. I eventually learned that the Ethnic Cleansers project had been shut down. It was Skullface who put it back into operation. But despite that, he told me to forget about the transmission route and just focus on language identification. I do not know why. I understand that the Chinese philosophers who discovered the relative species of parasite originally planned to develop a phonogrammic Alexia parasite. The left temporoparietal region is home to the part of the brain that identifies the phonetic symbols of the English language. They wished to create a strain that would parasitize that region and suppress its literacy functions. The brain area responsible for identifying the logographs of Chinese, meanwhile, is in the left middle frontal gyrus.
That's neat.
Meaning that even if native speakers of Chinese were infected with the parasite, their literacy would be unaffected. Old and new, east and west, there is no limit to the delusions of those in power. But this delusion threatens to become a reality. I have to do something to stop this. There must be something I can do.
Ya'at-e. You disappoint me. Have you forgotten my face?
Leave me be.
You won't respond to anyone else, so I figured it must be me you wanted to see. But now you won't even look at me.
Have I not suffered enough?
Not until you've eased my suffering first. To tell you the truth, old man,
Another quick potty break. Potty break's over. Also, my chair is short.
I'm in a bit of a bind. It's about your children. You know what I mean? The parasites. The ones that infect a man's throat, killing him if he speaks their language.
They must not be allowed to multiply.
You are allowed to live only in order to help.
And also, was that explained? So originally they were done by mating. How I've already forgotten. How were they transported now? Via the air? Like just breathing? Yeah, it's just breathing out, right? Like if you're just in the vicinity of somebody, you could just get it.
Me. But you don't want to, do you? So why not choose death instead? Because you want to protect the Diné and their land from me. That's your purpose, isn't it? Don't lose sight of that now. It's in your interest to cooperate. Because if you don't,
Madness.
the parasites can't detect your people's tongue. So I'll just have to resort to more heavy-handed means.
That wasn't clever.
I have the greatest respect for your people. I would rather avoid such a thing, but we don't always get our way. I was born a tiny mote in a mighty tempest, and until those winds abate, all I can choose is how to act when they blow me this way or that. Tell me, Code Talker, what happens to a man infected with a pair of your parasites? Can they be removed? Can the full-blown symptoms be prevented?
It is impossible to remove the parasites alone. They have too close an affinity with humans.
Then how do you stop the symptoms from developing? All right. I was hoping for an answer now, but perhaps you just need a little more time. I'll be back soon. I've set up shop, not far from here. We'll be seeing a lot more of each other.
If you're close by, then it is almost complete.
We're in the final phases. All that's left is to see if I can actually disable a nuke, with the help of your metallic archaea. Once that's done, I won't have to return here again, and your suffering will end, as will your people's. We're almost finished, Code Talker, each in our own way.
My only regret will be not finishing you.
There's nothing stopping you. I'm only alive because you want me that way.
Ridiculous.
As you wish. My regret is this misunderstanding between us. You and I, our goal is the same. We should be working together. A symbiosis.
You do not know my mind. I simply want the Diné bloodline to endure.
Really now? You're just another mote in the storm. How you react to all the slings and arrows, that's what counts. That's why you call those squirming monsters your children.
What I have done is forbidden. Forgive me, all of you.
The world should be left the way it is. You of all men should know that. Forgive me.
God, this is
but my
10 minutes
schedule has
long.
changed.
All right, settle
The
in.
time for grace and good manners has now run out.
Please. Torture will not work on me. Surely you know this.
Oh, I have no intention of getting rough with you. You haven't been beaten. Your hands aren't even tied. Just like me, you live in symbiosis with countless parasites. What wounds I might inflict, they'll patch right up. You might feel considerable pain, but I've no doubt you can withstand it.
Then what do you plan on doing?
I have a soldier standing outside. Nothing special about him, except that he always obeys. I have given him one instruction. Whenever I ring this bell, he passes on a message for me. That message is simply, go.
What is this?
After that, though, it gets complicated. The message will arrive at a room, a little bigger than this one, nothing special. Some of your people are in this room, surrounded by my men.
Enough of this.
They pick them at random. No regard for age, gender. In that, I suppose, they're different from you. Not as discriminating. They tied them up, one by one, blindfolded them. We had to maintain order, you understand?
You bastard.
Go. When they hear that, my men will pick one of your people and infect them with a parasite. Your parasite.
It won't work on my people.
True. The vocal cord parasite doesn't respond to your language. But what about English?
An English strain. It exists.
A ring of this bell, and they infect one person. If that person abandons the Navajo language, the English strain will trigger symptoms.
You monster.
So, it's quite simple. Every time I ring the bell, another of your people is infected.
Don't do this.
Oh,
I don't want.
yeah, that was just ones I took off when I took off my shoes yesterday. I just forgot they were there. They probably didn't even leave around. Yeah, that's fine.
This, I'd rather not have to ring the bell, which is why I'm hoping you will talk to me.
What do you want? What else could you possibly want?
You know the answer to that. How to prevent the symptoms caused by the parasite.
You cannot control it like some slave. Forget the idea.
Forget it. Unlikely.
I will never tell you. What have you done,
You made me do that.
you black-hearted?
Settle down.
Don't use it again.
Well, that is up to you. All you need to do is tell me what I want. How to prevent the vocal cord parasite's symptoms.
Why? Why do you need to know?
The adult soldiers at Bwala are all dead.
What?
The parasite traveled downstream.
How?
It would appear that he was involved. Another demon who woke up from 9 years of slumber. As a result, the vocal cord parasite spread through the village.
I told you this would happen.
It was An unfortunate accident. He is becoming an annoyance. He may stumble upon the truth sooner or later, but I suppose that is really of no consequence. One day, he too will pay for what he has done.
Black Anna. The real demon is you.
You know, this incident made me realize something. You are right. I should have acted with more humility.
Rain approaching.
These creatures cannot be controlled. All the more reason I require a means to stop them.
There is no such way.
Oh, really?
Wait! Don't bring it again.
It is up to you. Out with it.
I see now. There must be more to it than that.
What?
They are in you. You use this land to breed more of my children. And not just here. No. In pursuit of your ethnic cleansers. You sifted through many language strains. Finding hosts. Breeding more and more. You would have been infected in the process. Infected with countless strains. Most likely your mother tongues as well. Romania, Northern Transylvania. You found that one too. Yes, the Hungarian strain. That responds to the CK's dialect.
Silence!
Black Anna. It is you who shall pay.
Is this your retaliation, old man?
Let my people go, and never bother them again. You heard me. What now? What? No! What are you doing?
I am not afraid. I probably have every language strain inside of me. Meaning all the world's languages are already lost to me. But that suits me fine. If need be, I myself can produce whatever strain is needed.
And that means nothing to you. If you are infected, you can never again speak your mother tongue. Otherwise you will die. As will every one of your countrymen.
A few words here and there won't trigger the symptoms. And besides, the time is not yet right to show this face in my homeland. Not until my revenge is complete. Now...
Stop!
We're out of time. I have to get going. Well...
No! Radiation. It's radiation.
Radiation, of course. So it can be used.
That's
But
straight up
how
different.
much? I do not know.
Radiation denatures their reproductive cells, preventing them from mating.
Same principle as the sterilization technique. The reproductive cells are more sensitive to radiation than the rest of the body. But I have not tested it. There is no telling what mutation could result, or how the host may be affected. Not to mention what could happen if this is done post-infection.
I don't care.
That feels like a
This
natural
plan
test.
goes into action now. As long as it works, the details can wait. You wouldn't be lying to me, of course, old man.
I can guarantee nothing.
I owe you my life. My body has been burned on countless occasions, but it survives, thanks to your children. That is why I trust you.
Then do not repeat my mistake.
What's that?
In the West, it is said that the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. In the East, it is said the man of flesh brings spiritual power to words. The people knew back then that these creatures carry the gospel. They do not belong in our hands. They must not be touched.
How enlightening. I'll remember that. Consider this my thanks.
What are you, catch? No!
You don't even know if Skullface was lying, by the way. Could have been lying his ass off.
Well then, I'm afraid it really is goodbye this time, Code Talker.
There is no soldier.
Huh. Now where did he run off to? Guess he wasn't as obedient as I thought.
There never was any soldier.
So long.
Bye.
You!
Yeah, you didn't even have to prove, like...
How dare you!
Okay.
There is
Pause.
going to be a kind of festival held on Mother Base. They are calling it Peace Day.
Oh.
Snake and his men may be without a nation, but they are still an army. And that means sometimes they have to fight the bad guys. Of course, they should not fight at all. It is obvious to me that any problem can be solved with reasonable discussion. Maybe Snake and the others think so too, because the idea is to set aside war for one day a year and relax in peace. I do not know how it came about, but apparently Snake and Miller got the idea while they were talking, and everyone on Mother Base went along with it. To think that deep down they all share a love of peace, that makes me happy. But never mind that. Somehow I have ended up singing on stage. Miller was all, "Come on, both our names mean peace. It will be great." Why does that mean we have to be in a band? Then he roped Professor Galvez in too, saying, "Hey, Galvez comes from peace too. We are the perfect act." I am not sure Miller really understands the origins of the name Galvez. But then again, you always have to take Miller's talk with a grain of salt. What I cannot believe is he went and told everyone we'd be performing together without even asking my opinion. Now everyone thinks it has all been decided. I like to sing, but I have never had to perform in front of a crowd. I do not think I'm up to this. But everyone seems to be looking forward to it. I guess I would hate to let them down. And anything is
pause.
better than letting Miller sing. Oh, that was mean. Miller said he was going to write a song for us. I wonder what it will be like. It is funny. The more nervous I get, the more I find myself looking forward to it.
I just realized, is that from when she was still a bad person? when she was in on it in Peace Walker? Because the way she's talking makes that sound like that's her now, and she doesn't realize. Because I remember that tape from Peace Walker.
I hope you bought a better hamburger this time, Kazuhira.
Right. Well,
The last one was lacking in every way. The patty was too thin, the bun too dry, and the lettuce days old at best.
He told you.
that was 100% all beef patty, and no shortening in the bun either.
Nature's blessings, unadulterated, in hamburger form. Is that it? But when taste falls short, so does our gratitude to nature. Making such precious blessings unpalatable is sacrilege.
I hate to admit it, but I think you're right. I should have known better than to settle for second best. That's why I had him run some more R&D, develop a new burger. In fact, one of our researchers just dropped by with the latest results.
Here it is. See how you like this? We shall see indeed. I thank you for this bounty, Mother Earth. So, what's the verdict?
It's McDonald's, isn't it?
Not bad. And? But it does not hold a candle to what I ate back home.
What did you eat back home?
Everyone's a critic. Damn it. I was sure the Kobe beef, but maybe we didn't have enough. If we had any more, we're cutting into our profits. Profits? We'll be taking a loss on every unit. What are you talking about? Huh? Oh, anyway, I'll be back with another round of product. I will be waiting. Did you say product?
Boss, we need you to get back a film canister one of our informants hid in the field. He was working under my orders to investigate the extraordinaries that showed up in Cyprus. The man on fire and the floating boy that keeps showing up where they're not welcome. Apparently they were the subjects of some top-secret research conducted by the Kremlin. Unfortunately, that meant our informant drew the attention of the KGB's Directorate S, and they took him out before we could make contact. The good news is he placed a report in a film canister and hid it somewhere in Spookmate Keep. Just before he died, he transmitted VI of the hiding place to us, but the data was cut off partway through. The image is far from clear, but it might provide the clue you need. We'll be analyzing the data further to try to clear it up, but for now, get to Spookmate Keep. The KGB have already dispatched a Spetsnaz squad to retrieve that film canister and cover the whole thing up. Boss, there's no time to waste. Head to Spookmate Keep and use the VI as a clue to find and retrieve that target. Why was Sahelanthropus mobile? How are the man on fire and that kid connected to Skullface's plan? If we can just get that report, we can blow it all wide open. Then we can shake off the last remnants of Skullface and the phantoms he left behind. Boss, retrieve the film canister our informant hid in Spookmate Keep before he died. It contains vital information on Skullface's plan. For now, our only clue is the garbled photograph the informant tried to send us before the end. We're working on analyzing the data, but there's no time to wait. A KGB Spetsnaz squad is after the target as well. Boss, go to Spookmate.
That's also something unique. So,
where the film canister is hidden. It is paramount you retrieve the target before the enemy does.
there are benefits to parasites, because even though Quiet has the English strain in her, she completely benefits from having parasites. So is there a... I didn't actually get a difference. Is there parasites that they did develop that are just beneficial and some that are not? Because obviously you have the whole Skulls unit, but yeah, even Code Talker has beneficial parasites, right? She has beneficial parasites, but she also has that's what I'm thinking, also has the English strain, and therefore can't speak English, even though she could speak any other fucking language if she could. Sounds like. Let's go back. So, you know, to have a character like Quiet, having the whole parasite, that could have been separated, right? That could have been the kind of grounded science fiction, is not the whole vocal cord thing.
Buddy, infiltrated and the map has been updated.
I need help. They came out of nowhere, and all I have are these.
The map has been updated.
Trying to run. What the hell? Did that not land next to him? That was weird. So anyways, yeah, again, so the whole, I guess I'm gonna take y'all just whoa. Again, the crux of this story. Oh, I did, didn't I? Told her to go over there, I guess, whatever. The crux of Skullface's story is around the whole vocal cord parasite, but the parasite giving her abilities, that's a grounded, that to me is a grounded science fiction element, right? But
He's coming too.
yeah, what would this story be? How would they connect this story to Metal Gear if they didn't have the vocal cord parasite? That's the question.
Extraction arrived at Multibase.
Oh. That is just Bugman right there.
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated. Analysis complete. Buddy has info analysis. The map has been updated.
Yeah, look at all this. So,
Enemy
we
presence
are.
detected. The map has been updated.
They have riot gear. I have done missions getting rid of riot gear, but I think because this is a main story mission, I think they just have it. So basically, no matter what I do for, or no matter how many deployment ops I send out to get rid of those type of things, it doesn't actually have a positive benefit on missions like this, I guess.
The map has been updated.
That ain't even worth it. Who saw me? Ooh, that's satisfying. But did something. Not enough, though. Oh, wait. That sucks because that means this is the type of, well, I already, it's not, actually it wasn't even my fault that this all got alerted in the first place. I just remembered it was those guys down there. What am I here for? Oh, yeah.
Boss, we fully decrypted the VI data. Now the target's hiding place should be clear as day. Check your iDroid.
I'm checking. There you go. Okay. Yeah, there's a couple guys that I can take care of. There you go, quiet. Oh, is that their sniper? Ooh, ooh, careful. Yeah, because hers is green. Hold up. Oh, there he is. There we go. All right, problem solved. Where's my film canister? Is it over here? Damn. Glorious.
You've completed your objective. Now get out of the hot zone.
Okay.
Mission info has been updated.
Yeah, the only reason they were alerted is because those dudes drove by. All right, let's leave. Captured. Awesome. Sure.
Please select a mission.
Peacekeepers. Did I just hear somebody?
Unit dispatched. Unit dispatched.
Oh man,
Unit
these
dispatched.
headphones already dying.
Unit dispatched. Unit dispatched.
I don't know who woke up, but whatever. Calling a helicopter. Somebody come pick me
Please
up.
support helicopter requested.
I'm still just thinking about Peace Walker was all about. Are they people down here? Why are there people down here? Oh, no, two of them are my thing. I'm gonna run over this guy. Oh no! Oh no!
Detected.
This is Pequod. Have arrived at LZ. We'll stand by.
There we go. That was dumb.
Helicopter
Whatever.
has arrived.
Oh yeah, there was a third guy down here. That's what I thought. I missed him. I was like, I drove off anyways. Yeah, as sometimes kind of dumb as the individual stories are in each individual game, they're still somewhat grounded enough. But and it just feels like you going from mission to mission. And it's weird because they learned after 4
You're out of the hot zone.
that which was
In pursuit. Mission complete.
heavily cutscenes, but it was also war. It was just about all the different war zones you were in. Whereas this game, they were like, all right, we're still going to put in as much story, but it's literally in the form of codex, or just codex, like in cassette tapes. But it's like you didn't have to go that hard. Really, you should have focused. Stop focusing on the vocal cord parasite, and you should have really focused on finishing the game, bridging the gap.
Side ops list updated.
I've updated the mission list.
List
We've received a
updated.
new job offer. The details are on your iDroid.
Okay. Got a blueprint. I think we do. We want to listen to this. Yeah, informant's report because. Oh, all right, let's-
Feeling hungry, old
Fuck it.
timer? Old timer. I do not get hungry. No. But you have a new hamburger?
You guessed it. And this time we used lamb.
Lamb.
You're not a lamb kind of guy?
A hamburger is made of beef. Whoever heard of a hamburger without beef?
Hamburger's just a
We
bunch
gotta
of
stay
meat.
fresh. Stand out from our competition.
You're
matter.
what?
Just give it a try.
Please select a mission.
If you say so.
Unit dispatched.
Not bad. But I cannot call this a hamburger.
I thought we were onto something this time. Maybe the problem is that it looks like a regular hamburger. Gotta think outside the box. Too much baggage if they come in expecting just another burger. Let's see.
Crowds
Cotton candy
approaching.
to make it look like a sheep? Yeah.
Please
Just
select
a minute.
mission.
You really think people would eat that? What is it you are planning? Are you using me? A taste tester? A one-man focus group?
Well,
You like burgers so much.
actually, already started. I got a place called Miller's Maxi Buns.
You are kidding me.
Well, to be honest, business hasn't been great. No one seems to like my buns.
The Ocelot said Diamond Dog's budget did not add up. But you don't mean to tell me.
What? No. Our black budget's got it all covered. I'm not embezzling GMP or anything. Still, let's not say anything to Snake, okay?
Very well. However, Kazuhira, it takes more than premium ingredients.
Takes
And
love.
a clever recipe to satisfy the palate.
Okay. So what do we do?
The palate seeks one thing. Chemical additives.
Chemical additives.
There is nothing mysterious or spiritual about good flavor. The tongue simply
Does he just want seasoning?
identifies specific amino acids, which the brain then recognizes as appealing. Therefore, all that is needed is to chemically isolate those amino acids and incorporate them into your products. To be clear, I speak of flavor. The rest is irrelevant.
That seems a little extreme.
Do not forget that I am a scientist after all. And using science for the benefit of others is a joy. In seeking coexistence with nature's blessings, not everything can remain in its natural form.
He is. He's talking about McDonald's.
When we fall ill, they must be treated. Otherwise, that very nature could cost us our lives. Agriculture is one of nature's many blessings. But through
Now I gotta pause it to say it now before I forget. He's legitimately on the side of essentially like fast food. Like he's actually like no. Like he's for the ingredients that they're putting in. You know, the whole thing of, you know, what's in our fast food. And, oh, it doesn't degrade and all that shit. And this guy's like, yeah, that's fine. Tastes good, don't it? I'm actually very curious about the amino acid thing. Because it sounds, at first he sounds like he's talking about seasoning. Like, oh yeah, are you not seasoning the burger? Like, are you just making a burger? Like, you know, and a good burger is a good burger by itself. I don't know if anybody's aware of this. Meat contains every amino acid. That's the point of meat. That's why if you're vegan or don't eat a lot of meat, you have to have complementary proteins. So black beans and white rice, they both complement each other because they each have the amino acids that the other one is missing, which makes it a complete profile. Meat naturally just has them all. So your tongue, I don't know if there's any legitimacy to that. And as a NASM certified personal trainer and nutritionist, that's not something they would go into. That's like the idea of a chef, right? You know, I wouldn't necessarily be told that about the human tongue. But that kind of intrigues me because meat has every amino acid. So you're that to identify certain amino acids. So you're saying just give it more of that single amino acid that tastes really good. That's very interesting.
that process, we damage the surrounding vegetation.
Yeah. Whether it's a massive farm or a tiny field, we always leave our mark on the land.
The same is true of parasites and for food preparation. If tapeworms in the raw meat of another animal enter the human body, they roam around trying to find their usual habitat, sometimes even eating away at the brain in their confusion. So in looking through a scientific point of view, you see the necessity for processing food. Yes, it is also sometimes necessary to eliminate certain parasites or selectively use or even modify others. Alternatively, we could say that if a man is part of nature, the work he does is also part of it. What is important is the balance.
Yeah, you're right. Thanks, old-timer. You really opened my eyes. I fooled myself into thinking people today wanted high-quality, all-natural goods. But my favorite burgers were never about that. What they want is something like the first burger I had in America when I went to meet my dad. A Frankenburger loaded with additives. That's the America I knew and loved. I'll be back in a jiffy, old-timer.
Oh my
This burger's
god.
gonna knock your socks off.
Oh, I love it.
So here, wait. What is
Nice.
important is how we balance the... quick for a one-legged man.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
What kind of a dive did your old man take you to?
All right. Let's find out about the
We
informant.
finished decoding the informant's report. That floating kid we've run into a few times now. Looks like he was a test subject in clinical experiments. The Soviets called him the Third Boy. The Third Boy was brought to a lab on the outskirts of Moscow from Czechoslovakia, after which he was due to be sent to a research center in Leningrad, then Siberia, and finally an academic town in Novosibirsk. It doesn't appear that the researchers witnessed the talents we've seen from him, but nevertheless he was quite the popular subject. His latent cognitive abilities suddenly awoke en route to Moscow. According to the report, the Third Boy was easily influenced by other individuals' biofields. Evil thoughts, in particular. They affected his mind like a virus. Extreme anger or resentment, motives for revenge, in other words. Now, during the transport flight to Moscow, the boy was exposed to a powerful mental energy field coming from a certain individual. Ever since, being conscious of his powers, he's become a sort of energy generator. What's unique about him is the way his acute telepathic abilities get taken over by another person's will. The boy began to physically parasitize individuals experiencing extreme anger and codify the host's desires. This includes amplifying the host's natural strengths. Or, in accordance with the host's desires, he can also implant program code in another individual, making them a puppet, essentially. Human neural synapses transmit weak electrical currents between neurons. These electrical currents, though at a level difficult to observe, warp the magnetic field outside the body. The Third Boy is able to pick up these weak fluctuations. Contrary to psychotronics, which involves controlling the human mind, his abilities as a receptor are too high. The emotions he picks up from another individual are amplified and unleashed into his body as they recur in his brain. They turn into microwaves, which then affect the physical world, triggering paranormal phenomena like the spontaneous combustion of organic matter or psychokinesis, moving an object without touching it. There's one other thing. While he's parasitizing a host, the boy's ego gets shut away, allowing the will of the host to take control of his powers, like some annoying static drowning out your own voice. That means he isn't responsible for what's been happening. Somebody's extreme anger has manifested through the Third Boy's powers in ways none of us could have predicted, which would mean this was going on somewhere around us. Looking back on it, a lot of things make sense now. The man on fire, Sahelanthropus, they both came to life thanks to the Third Boy's powers. Everything has been happening through him as a catalyst. We first saw him in the hospital on Cyprus. The boy parasitizing the man on fire's desire for revenge gave him his new abilities in return. He next appeared at the Hamid Fighters Fort where the honeybee was hidden. There, the boy parasitized Skullface's vengeful mind. He controlled Sahelanthropus, making it do whatever Skullface wanted. Same goes for when we extracted Emmerich onto the chopper. When he appeared at the Devil's House in Central Africa, Skullface's will controlled the man on fire via the Third Boy's powers. Everything is clear up to this point. But even the informant couldn't pinpoint who the host was in the cave within Serac power plant. Sahelanthropus suddenly became active, then crushed not only the man on fire, but Skullface as well. Surely neither of them could have been the host. Who else was at that location and bore anger more extreme than either of them? Whose will was controlling Sahelanthropus? According to the report, emotions transmitted in children's brains affect the surrounding magnetic field more strongly.
Cerebral nerves are covered with insulation called myelin sheaths to increase impulse speed. The reason for this leakage has to do with the fact that children's myelin sheaths are still developing. So, how many children do you remember being there? Children with a burning desire for revenge and bearing a grudge against you. I can think of only one. Eli. We don't know what kind of life he's had, but the resentment he's shown toward adults is nothing short of extraordinary. The third boy resonated with Eli's mind. And that means Eli bore the strongest animosity of all individuals within the boy's reception range.
He was more pissed off than Volgin.
Radius, beating out even Volgin and Skullface. The third boy has probably remained hooked on Eli's anger since. You remember at the Devil's House, the third boy showed an interest in Shabani? That must have been his ego making a rare appearance. He may possess abilities far beyond anyone else in the world, but he's still a kid. Maybe them both being kids was enough to bring them together. And if so, maybe with Eli, he isn't feeding off him, but acting in symbiosis with him. So what kick-started the third boy's powers? If we look at the location and time that his plane went down, we can make a pretty good guess. When the plane experienced the first anomaly, it gave an accurate report of its position to a control tower, due north of the Black Sea, 125 miles east of Kiev. Dead south on the Black Sea is Cyprus's Green Line. So the plane's position was directly north of the hospital where you'd been asleep for 9 years. And this anomaly was reported at exactly the same time that you woke up. The plane was enveloped in flame from the inside out. The fuselage burnt to ashes. There were no survivors, at least not publicly admitted. Your thoughts formed a synchronicity with the boy's psyche and were amplified inside his brain. That would have been more than enough to trigger his abilities. Your rage was like a big bang in his head, blowing the lid off his powers. The boy was then secretly moved to the lab outside of Moscow where Volgin was comatose. There, Volgin's thoughts resonated with the boy and he was awakened. Volgin became the man on fire, hell-bent on getting revenge on you. His instincts led him straight to you. Skullface knew Volgin from Operation Snake Eater, or perhaps from even before. Monitoring this pair of extraordinaries, he discovered the hospital and sent his assassin and XOF. Skullface was probably watching the situation from close by. Then, realizing how useful these two test subjects could be, he approached them. Reacting to Skullface's thirst for revenge, this time the boy let Skullface's will control Volgin. Volgin, at times driven by personal revenge, at times through Skullface's will, kept on moving, though his body was little more than dead meat. Perhaps there were moments where even your thoughts affected him as well. But without the boy's power, it was like the plug had been pulled from the socket. Everything was powered by anger, malice, revenge. This is how the end of the report sums things up. Both the third boy and the man on fire were originally test subjects of paranormal research for military applications, like telekinetically controlling the leader of an enemy nation and making him launch a nuke, or stopping the heart of someone on the wrong side of the Berlin Wall, experimenting with latent human abilities. They were used as tools of the Cold War. The boy's only crime was being born with unique gifts. But he was sacrificed on the altar of war. His life reduced to slavery under other people's wills. Turned into a living weapon with no will of his own. Eventually, the only emotion he could feel must have been the desire to get revenge for the hand he'd been dealt. Boss, it's you that awakened the boy's powers. But there's more to it than that. I guess the anger emanating from you was something he could truly relate to.
So, still dumb. I like it more. I like this more than the vocal cord parasite because now we're dealing with the original characters. Why, going into Metal Gear Solid, Psycho Mantis and Liquid Snake being on the same unit and together as a team. So, it's like the first chapter is this game. It's Skullface's story, essentially, intertwined. Like your interaction with Skullface and Metal Gear, why he has a Metal Gear. So that's that. Chapter 2 feels like it's supposed to be the more backstory in the bridge to Metal Gear, and this is what makes me even more curious about the wiki, because even I don't think I just got like hair that I need trimmed. That's fucking would this game have actually even maybe been, I don't want to say better, but would chapter 3 have involved any of the personnel you find and hire that Snake takes out in Metal Gear, right? Like, where's that gap? So hearing this and like, okay, here's Psycho Mantis' backstory, like, as dumb as that is, the whole fueling revenge, I'll buy it a little bit more than the vocal cord parasite, and I do like it better because it ties back into the overall Metal Gear and what I feel like most people probably wanted, which is that bridging that gap.
The CFA are gearing up for a large-scale attack against Angola's MPLA government. They're assembling an armored column to the north of Nova Braga Airport and will be ready to move soon. We've been contracted by the MPLA to put a stop to them. But the civil war will keep burning on, whether we accept this job or not. Another East-West proxy war with the communist MPLA on one side and the capitalist-funded CFA on the other. An endless seesaw of blood and violence played out in the hands of the superpowers. I had my doubts at first, but I think we should take this job. Skullface is gone, but Cypher still remains. Competition with rival PFs will only get more intense. For us to survive, we need to expand our organization and get strong enough that no one can threaten us. So our only option is to fight and grow, and fight and grow.
Yep, and Cypher, that whole thing is the war with Cypher. Like, what's that story? All right, this has definitely been a heavy story-oriented part. So we'll go ahead and go and at least do this mission. A lot of this will probably be. I need to take a fucking shower. You know what? No, we're going back to Mother Base.
Approaching.
Hold on. Go back to Mother Base real quick.
Please select heading to Mother Base.
I'll have definitely cut this up a little bit more or just stick around all the story beats and me trying to convey what I feel is the lacking of the vocal cord parasite storyline. Because yeah, like Quiet is also legit just here for this game, so I don't even know how they would have wrapped up. I think it'd be nice if Kojima spoke. I don't know, it could still be NDAs. It could still be NDAs. He might not even be able to speak on just what he would have liked to have done. Because I think we'd all be okay with that if we just, most people, it's like, it's not nefarious, we just kind of want answers. We're like, look, I understand there are certain legal things some people may or may not be able to say. I'm not looking for you to break that, so it's just like, hey, what was your ultimate plan for the end of this game and bridging the gap to the next game? Just tell us that so we're not speculating. But, you know, for a lot of people, they just want to move on from that. It kind of doesn't matter, right? They didn't get to make the story. They didn't get to finish it. Anybody, any storyteller.
Roger.
It kind of doesn't matter, right? You're just like, doesn't matter. We didn't get to do it anyways. But I'm not the type of person to do that. That's just me. Like, if I tell a story, if I was telling a story and it didn't get fully fleshed out, and I at least could tell what I would have liked to have done, I would. I've been like, oh yeah, we wanted to do this, this, and this. This is how we would have done this, but you know, unfortunately, things happened the way they happened, and we didn't get to tell that story. But that's what I would have liked to have done. That's my type of personality, and I wouldn't hold grudges, but I also wouldn't just say nothing. Like, doesn't matter. You still have a fan base, so again, that's why it's like a little bit of personality, but a little bit of. Yes, there's Code Talker. I saw him. a little bit of personality, not wanting to talk about it, and a little bit of potential indication. Because what would you gain? What would Konami gain from Kojima telling him what he would have liked to have done? Nothing. Like, that doesn't do anything. Like, you're not going to get more outrage than has already been, said by fans.
Please select a mission.
Oh, I was.
Please select a mission.
That's weird.
Mission accepted. Heading to Central Africa.
Okay, she should actually have. Yeah, great. XOF now. I just want her in some tack gear. You know what I'm saying? There. Breathe. Oh, you know what? I would like this. I would like something that actually packs a punch. Please. That's fine. I like how... Oh, this is only a suppressed weapon. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Penetration. I'm thinking penetration, right? They actually all penetrate fairly the same. Okay. Yeah, let's go with that. And since we also had issue with that, screw it. Give me a hand grenade. Give me smoke grenades so they can't see me. Just in case. And okay, give me a sleep grenade. Because if they have the ballistic mask on, that doesn't act as a gas mask. And again, at this point, not necessarily worried about abducting people, right?
Deploying.
Taking highly ranked soldiers, unless it's like S across the board or something like that, I can just buy them at this point. But I at least invested in some better explosives, because I'd never really done that, right? Like I hadn't really even developed better versions of the explosive weapons that I had in the first place. So went ahead and did that. So at least I have, if I need to call in a new loadout.
The CFA are assembling an armored column to the north of Nova Braga Airport. Your job is to wipe them out. Listen to the tape for the contract details. Just be aware that the column's commander served with 5 Commando and later made a name for himself in South Africa's 32 Battalion. He's a hardened veteran, so don't take it lightly. Boss, I have a report from the intel team. The targets are now on the move. I've sent their predicted route to your iDroid. Check your map.
God. You know what? It's funny. He did say, and I do actually have to do it. I heard him comment on heavy. Do you say heavy weapons? I heard him comment on it, but it wasn't dawning on me what he was actually saying. What the fuck's the point? Damage is way better. Impact force is better. Stopping power, but this... So what's... Why would you not go with this? Effective range, lock on. That's kind of nice.
Please select supplies requested.
Yeah.
Supply drop complete.
I think I'll get it. Oh, yeah, we got time. That's funny. Oh, yeah, those EMN mines as well now, too, that I could use, but not going to. You know, I don't know how useful quiet. is gonna be here.
Boss, we have new targets. Check your iDroid for the details.
He's looking at me. He's looking at me. Give me a load. No, go. Oh, keep him away from my Jeep, though. Did that get him? That might have got. It got him. His head spinning like a top.
That's the way.
Yeah. Hey, buddy. Oh, is he coming this way? Is he coming in hot? I heard his buddy's getting shot at.
Enemy
He is.
presence
Oh
detected.
shit,
The
he
map
is.
has
He's
been
on a
updated.
motorcycle? Can't see him. Where's he at? Oh, that was a bad idea.
Snake!
Should just
CFA
maybe.
are assembling an armored column to the north of Nova Braga Airport.
good?
Your job is to wipe them out.
Detected. The map has been updated.
Yeah, high ground maybe. Nope. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. You don't know nothing. You don't know about me. There where I go. There where I go. Hey. You guys leave me alone.
Nice work, boss. The targets are almost history.
I'm leaving. I don't know where Quiet is. Oh, that. Yeah, they didn't care. They didn't care. That's fine. It's nice to do this sometimes. Go for it, dog. Start firing. Where you going, punk? Trying to run away from me? No, he stopped. Rose quiet. Take him out.
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Oh, I'm using the wrong weapon. Boom! Blow up that canister. Ooh. No, we're fine. Oh, my headset just died. Wait a second. 4 to 5. Check him out.
One target left.
I missed. What'd you say? Oh, I have to go to the air.
Outpost captured.
Gunship. Yep. So probably to the airport then? Oh, is that where they think I am? I mean... Oh, nope. Nope. No, he's right there. He took off. He took off. I kind of wondered if that would happen. Boom!
Enemy gunship. Don't try to take down a gunship from the front. You won't win in a head-to-head shootout. Try to get behind it and take it down with missiles.
Yeah, so you say. Sounds like you lack faith. I missed. Take him out. Don't you shoot down this hut. Boom. Took him down from the front, cause. Oh, that was Ocelot. Or who was that?
Nice work.
Somebody told me I could. Oh, no. Get in the house. He did. He tried. He tried. He was like, we're going down, but we'll take Snake out with us. No. He was like, oh no, he's hiding in a small hut. Oh, that's so good. All right, well, we'll just drive forward. All right, good job, boys. We're going home. See, it's nice when you're not trying to
No enemy forces in pursuit.
extract. Extract. Also, you can't extract gunships.
Mission complete.
Never thought about it. Never actually thought about that. Is there a weapon to do so? More cassette tapes. Oh, I got a gunship. Awesome. We got soldiers, and he's a troublemaker, and he's on standard. Kick his ass
As we
out.
suspected, the mastermind behind the kid's
Oh,
escape
shit.
was Eli. It's hard to believe, but apparently he'd been plotting an armed uprising against us. He could be hiding something else too. Ocelot's gonna press him for answers. Get back here as quick as you can.
All right, let's go ahead. It didn't give us a mission 6, though, by the way. It only classified 5 missions as the kids escape. Can I slap this little kid?
I told you, your father's not here.
They're back.
Yes, they're back. But don't get any bright ideas. Your quarters are under full surveillance. Your weapons privileges have been suspended. No more uprisings for you. Did you really think it would be that easy, Commander? You'll get your boys back. They'll even see the boss, too.
But first, I need to know what you sent them to do.
They wanted to leave.
To their homelands.
They wanted to go home. That's all.
So they were just homesick then.
Not quite.
Slap the shit out of this kid.
Militia warlords, PFs, the armies that murdered their families. Cousins, brothers, parents. They all had someone they wanted to kill. I told them, last chance to face the world with no regrets.
Last chance.
You better be ready for your drag back here. Ready to face the world as enemies.
No!
I'm not like you! Goodbye, Father. I don't need you anymore.
Can that thing swim, by the way? Or does Psycho Mantis pick it up? Oh. He did. He flew away with it. He literally levitated it out.
Was Ralph really an accident? Or did Eli just rig it to stir up the boys? Either way, he had to have been planning for this all along.
That's a good question.
Bidding farewell to the world.
See, Eli is a better plot point than... Oh. He's a better plot point than the vocal parasite at some point because I'm not even actually... Again, I don't know... So this is why he knows about Metal Gear and why Metal Gear Solid can be a thing, because it sounds like him just wanting to make his own Metal Gear based off of what happened to him as a kid. Oh man, I'm so... It's Solid, Liquid Psycho, Solid is screaming, praying. Yes. Oh, praying mantis. Nice. Bro, the mantis. Oh, God. It is. It's... Yeah. A little bit less focus.
Boss,
DNA test.
We're looking for the kids in Sahelanthropus, but there's still no sign
How
of
the
them.
fuck can you
We
not
don't know if
find
the
them?
chopper pilot is alive either.
Probably.
What have we gone and put in the hands of those kids? We
I
don't
mean,
know how
like-
bad this is until we find them. Also, regarding our concerns about Eli, I finished looking into whether or not he's a product of that project. I have an answer. I put it on tape. Give it a listen.
We did have a cassette, though, talking very specifically.
I've updated the mission list. We've received some new job offers. The details are on your iDroid.
That Metal Gear, Sahelanthropus, isn't a functioning weapon. So it doesn't behoove him to take it. So, anyways, okay. Let's see. Can I do it? Oh, no,
Please
some things got
select a
finished.
mission.
Screw it, why not? Dang!
Unit
Like
dispatched.
a nimble part. Have the helicopter pick me up.
Please select landing zone
Roger.
confirmed.
I feel like I haven't actually been recording for that long. Even though my camera is telling me 2 hours and 13 minutes. So, what I might do is I might just take my own personal break. But I'll go ahead and continue to play more and tack it onto this part. So let me at least go to the ACC. Don't listen to any more cassettes right now. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. It's like, for Metal Gear fans, this is more intriguing than the vocal cord parasite. Period. We want to know. We want to bridge the gap. Because yeah, I did at least get a brief visual about Solid Snake, David, just growing up, having a military background. So, dude isn't even aware of any of this. I don't think Big Boss or anybody ever finds him, or maybe Big Boss finds him and puts him in Fox, because the wording of the wiki is actually really off, because they make it seem like Big Boss, this boss sends Snake, who used to be on the Foxhound unit, to investigate Outer Heaven, but I thought this was Outer Heaven. So that means he sent it to investigate himself, which doesn't make sense. The wording on the wiki is actually kind of off, so, and that's why I'm curious to look at it.
About Eli hijacking Sahelanthropus. We know how he got it moving.
Yeah, the kid's anger. Oh, never mind.
He used the kids in the staff living quarters to carry out his repairs. We got the details on tape. You're gonna want to hear this.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's gonna be good.
Plant expansion complete.
Children escape, Ocelot fears, we got more burgers. All right, so I'm gonna cut here and we'll just continue.